I'd like to call the Onslow County Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, March 6, 2023 to order at this time, and ask that our county manager, Ms. Sharon Griffin, provide us with an invocation, followed by Ms. Sherry Slater with our Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much, and good morning, Chairman Foster and Commissioners. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you and conduct the business of Onslow County. Bless our social workers, who we honor here today, for their dedication to our community. Lord, equip them with the professional and relational resources they need to continue making an impactful change as they work to build better lives. May all we do this day bring you honor and glory. Amen. Now, with deep respect and reverence for the faiths, beliefs, and traditions of those gathered here, join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to recognize our elected officials here with us this morning, and then a few other folks that represent the county. First, from North Topsail Beach, Alderman Mr. Rick Grant. Appreciate him being here this morning, as well as Major Sean George, or Colonel Sean George. My fault, he got a promotion here in the last month or two. The Chief Deputy of Onslow County Sheriff's Office, and sitting with him is Major Linwood Tron as well. So we appreciate y'all being here, and Dr. Gartner from the Onslow County Board of Education as well. Is anyone else we've missed in the audience this morning? I think we are good there, and we appreciate everybody being here. And we ask that all that are in attendance to please set your cell phones to silent or vibrate. The board offers the public one opportunity to speak during the meeting. These comments should be limited to no more than 5 minutes and may be on any issue upon which the Board of Commissioners has control. In accordance with our adopted rules of procedure, commissioners shall reserve responses, if any, for the commissioner comment period on the agenda. At this time, I'd ask for the adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. At this time, we ask any board members who have any questions or concerns about the items on the consent agenda, or if there's any that we would like to have removed and moved to the agenda.
Chairman, I would like to remove item 2D, Swansboro Baseball and Softball League fireworks display permit request, to consider separately as item 6A.
Okay. Motion.
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries, and that will be moved to the last item on our agenda. At this time, I'll turn it over to Ms. Griffin for public comment.
Thank you, Chairman Foster. And this morning, we do have one citizen signed up for our public comment period. I would remind the speaker that they have 5 minutes to please repeat his name and address when he comes to the podium and address his comments to the board as a whole. At this time, it'd be a pleasure to welcome Alderman Rick Grant to the podium, and he is at 202 something Bunks Court. Yes.
Commissioner Bennett has noticed I am dressed for the beach since I represent the beach town. I just want to thank you all for the help, and I know with Ms. Griffin for all the help with the beach and everything we've been doing. We've had, I saw the article about tourism's been up and stuff, and so that's great. And you know, with God's help, maybe we won't have a hurricane hit for a while, but a lot of work going on in the town. As you well know, we've got almost $30 million worth of beach work that's going to be done in the next 2 years. And also hopefully starting our new fire station. Anyway, the whole point of this was to thank you all for everything. We really like the partnership with the county. We appreciate everything you all have done to help us, and thank you again, Manager.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That concludes our public comment period. Chairman Foster?
We'll move right into item 4, presentations. Ms. Griffin?
Yes, today we have one proclamation, and I'm going to read that into the record. State of North Carolina, County of Onslow Proclamation, National Social Work Month 2023. Whereas social workers enter the profession because they have a strong desire to help empower individuals, families, communities, and our nation overcome issues that prevent them from reaching their full potential. And whereas social workers follow a code of ethics that call on them to fight social injustice and respect the dignity and worth of all people. And whereas the 2023 Social Work Month theme, Social Work Breaks Barriers, embodies how social workers have enriched our society by empowering people to overcome hurdles that prevent them from living life to the fullest. And whereas Onslow County government employs over 100 social workers within the Department of Social Services, the Health Department, and Senior Services, and they have worked to improve the human well-being and enhance the basic needs of all people. And whereas social workers are on the front lines of the nation's opioid addiction crisis, helping people get the treatment they need and prevail over substance use disorders. And whereas social workers have continued to push for changes that have made our society a better place to live. And whereas social workers endeavor to work throughout our society to meet people where they are and help empower people in our society to reach the goals they wish to obtain. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Onslow County Board of Commissioners acknowledges March 2023 as National Social Work Month in Onslow County and calls upon citizens to join in celebration and support of the social work profession. Presented this the 6th day of March 2023 by the Onslow County Board of Commissioners. Chairman Foster has requested that Commissioner Carpenter present this proclamation. And as you can see, we have wonderful representatives from our Onslow County Department of Social Services who will accept.
Board and to thank each of you for being here today. I wish we could fit all of you up here today. I know that would probably require a small bus. The work that you do is so critical and so vital, and I think it takes a very special individual to select to do something that is very sacrificial in nature and requires a lot of deep diving, I'm sure, into your souls and your hearts, and we just appreciate your dedication and your passion with which you deliver those services to the citizens of Onslow County. Thank you so much. And I don't know what we do.
Thank you, Commissioners, for recognizing March as Social Work Appreciation Month in Onslow County. I'm going to ask Susan Thigpen, the DSS Deputy Director, to say a few words.
I appreciate Chairman Foster and the Commissioners for recognizing March as National Social Work Month. Social workers are on the front line every day, and they are working with only their empathy, dedication, and their skills as they're working with our citizens across Onslow County. They're working with them to overcome some of the largest challenges to make it a better place for us all to live. Despite high turnover and staff vacancies, they work tirelessly to serve our most vulnerable citizens. Those 100 social workers plus 100 that we have with the Health Department, Social Services, and Senior Services are showing up every day and can tell you that they rarely work an 8 to 5 shift. So I really appreciate the work that they do and appreciate you all for recognizing that this month. Thank you.
As Commissioner Carpenter comes back up to the dais and everyone returns to their seats, I did miss our Board of Elections Director, Jason Dedman, here with us this morning as well. We know the importance of the Board of Elections and what they do all the time in Onslow County. So this time we'll continue with our County Department Spotlight, and back to Ms. Griffin.
Thank you, Chairman Foster. We have two fantastic department heads who are going to give us a glimpse into what their department does, both for our organization and for the public today. I'm happy to welcome Andrew Prince, and he is our finance officer, and he started at the beginning of October and has been kind of baptized by fire, I think. He's been kind of busy. So we welcome him to provide a county spotlight.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Commissioners. And thank you, the County Manager, for an excellent introduction. I will agree that it has been baptism by fire, but the one thing that I always have time to do is come and talk about my people. I have my purchasing department and I have my finance department. I'll start with the purchasing department. Usually Christina would be here, but you know, my award-winning department's down in Wilmington getting the county another award. So the purchasing department, for the 13th year in a row, received the Sustained Professional Purchasing Award. It's actually, I believe it's less than 30% of the counties in all of North Carolina get it, and they've done it 13 consecutive years. Our purchasing department is crucial to our county for many different reasons, whether that's making sure that we're getting the best price on a good, whether that means that we are making sure that our contracts are legal and everything is done correctly. Christina and her team do an amazing job of just keeping everybody on track and everything moving forward, and I could not do my job without Christina. We also have the warehouse, which is the only part of my department that isn't inside of this building here. We have two individuals, Alex and Dan, that work and deliver and provide a relationship to our departments in terms of getting them what they need at reasonable rates, making sure that they always have it, not taking up their space. Just doing a wonderful job. And then, you know, it comes down to it. I get to talk about the thing that I enjoy most, and that's finance. My team has been through a rough couple of years through some transition, but their will and their heart to keep working forward and the fact that they truly just want to be Onslow County employees is something that I'm thankful for every day I walk into work. They've taken on new initiatives. I'm asking them to probably do more than they should in terms of, I know, just getting everything done, but the opportunity to go out and spend time at other departments and let our SMEs provide, you know, Kronos training, payroll training, things like that to these different departments. We're seeing tremendous benefit. We actually did a Kronos training last week at CHS, and I believe they had 20 or 25 people that made the time to come and sit down to learn the tips and tricks and things that we have done. Additionally, we're responsible for making sure that the budget is stayed in value with, and make sure that our pre-audit certifications are completed. You know, we're finishing up this year's current financial audit. It has been a unique experience for me being on this side and not on the audit side. I look forward to seeing what my team does next year. And the one thing that we're hoping to do is something that has actually never been done by anybody in Onslow County Finance. After a little bit of research this weekend, I found that I don't believe Onslow County has ever prepared internally financial statements for the county. We've been looking at vendors and opportunities and have come across an opportunity that I believe is exactly what we need from a finance department. When we went out for RFP for our audit process, we asked both to provide a bid, but additionally to provide us an opportunity, if they had the availability, to give us their system to create our own set of financial statements here at the county. And we have actually gotten some proposals that include that at a no extra charge to the county. So instead of going out and finding a third party, we've actually going to work hopefully directly with our auditors to create that. And what that means for you is working towards providing quarterly financial statements, monthly financial statements, things that you can see clearly, which now to be able to do is a very large time commitment on my department. And I think that that is something that not only myself, but my entire department is unbelievably ready to get started on. I appreciate the time this morning, and thank you for allowing me to share the gift that my people are to me. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Our next County Department Spotlight will be with Jennifer Whaley, our fantastic library director.
Thank you, Chairman Foster and board members, for this opportunity to share Onslow County Public Library and the great things that go on there. I really could go on for many hours, and I kept condensing this report today, little snapshot of the awesome people that work at the libraries. There's 4 branches, and all are phenomenal. When I retired from the school system last year, Onslow County School System, after 28 years as an educator, I had no idea I would step inside the largest classroom I'd ever been in. It's not only a large classroom, it is a community living room, a marketplace of ideas, and mostly a safe haven. I want to start by sharing a few stats with you of an average of 500,000 visitors per year, 348,000 collections and circulations of materials, 87,000 digital downloads to showcase the usage by Onslow citizens. Just in the month of February, Onslow County was 3rd in the state for the most newly issued library cards. So we are getting out there. We are making those connections. But I thought the best way to showcase Onslow County Public Library and how we serve our citizens is to take you on a tour through some branches. So stick with me, I'm going to read a little bit. Let us start in Swansboro with library assistant Timothy, who helped a young man who was struggling to navigate the online job application for Food Lion. After multiple resubmittals, he not only got his interview, but job he was hoping to get. Timothy talks about how thrilling it is to walk in for his weekly shopping trips and see this young man working behind the checkout counter. It always gives him a smile. And branch manager Stephanie, who hosts a monthly book club that has grown from 8 to 25 attendants over the past few months at a local waterfront cafe. The diverse group ranges from senior citizen men and women to young adult college students, merging as one voice over one book title. Or you can simply travel to all the Swansboro district schools like all the branch managers do in their districts and find her hosting a resource table to catalyze partnerships and ignite library interest of parents and students alike. Then we can travel to Sneeze Ferry and find Anne, who created Novel Encounters to be a non-book club for elementary kids. It encompasses not only literature, but social skills, problem solving, STEM, and play. It's for children to have a space to think outside the box without fear of making mistakes. And then there's branch manager Jessica, who hosts and devises all the Dungeons and Dragons with the teenage patrons who step into the world of fantasy books within the walls of the public library after school. What better way to empower our youth with positive vehicles of imagination and quality use of their free time in a safe place. And Assistant Amanda, who recently shared excitement about recommending the books to a new mom who is trying to rediscover herself and reading for mental health and self-care. Or when she cheered on a family just last week, checking out an internet hotspot to make homeschooling a lot simpler for their 7 and 12-year-old. Then we go to my hometown, Richlands. Richlands Branch Library. Here we have it, Marietta, sitting there at the front door, helping a patron register to vote for the first time. He had recently become a U.S. citizen, and he didn't understand a lot of the written language. She sat down with him, read the form, helped him understand what he was being asked, assisted in filling out the form, and took it to the Board of Elections for him. Or you can watch Tracy, the branch manager, meet with a local Boy Scout troop, partnering to build butterfly houses, and assisting with creating a pollinator garden on site, bringing to life the world of science. Then we head back to main branch. We find Public Services Librarian Kathleen sitting with a USMC vet, discussing resources available to him through our local VA office, while Devin, a library assistant, helps him make his copies after he tells of his injured hand. Excuse me. And then there's Nancy. Walking across Plaza Manor. Excuse me. She walks there every week with her lawn blanket, a stack of books, and a basket of snacks to host her 10-year and younger book club with those kids who linger every day for people to take a chance on them. And that's what we do. Or Miss Jen, hosting the weekly dance party with an average of 75 to 85 parents and children in that one small meeting room. To host an energetic story time with music and dance. And Deb, our tech services librarian, sitting with a 75-year-old who's never used an iPad and wants to become tech savvy before her 80th birthday. Or Sinatra, helping set up the NC Works or the ONSA Memorial Table, where we have those advocacy programs and those partnerships established to help our citizens daily. Or she might be going off into the side room to host her Digital Learn workshop to help equip every citizen in this county with cybersecurity tools. Lastly, Crystal, sitting with a homeless couple who has recently found out they're expecting their first child. She reads through the brochure of community resources, finds a contact for pregnancy care manager. She walks them to my office where we make crucial phone calls to ensure the healthiness and safety of not only the couple but the unborn child. I could go on and on and on, but I would need a lot more tissue. Sharing glimpses of the empowerment through education and advocacy that this library system provides every single day, at every single branch. It is without a doubt, the largest educational classroom and community living room that a community possesses. It is filled with staff members, my colleagues, who are game changers and community catalysts. Thank you so much for all you do to support us. We really appreciate it, and please come see us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, and that concludes our wonderful departmental spotlights. Chairman.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that, and I feel sure you'll have some comments here at the end related to what y'all shared this morning. We appreciate you being here for that. So we'll go into our general items, and I think we're going to start with some rezoning potential items.
That's correct, Chairman. We're going to do a continuation of a former item that was on an agenda. It's a decision on the Shady Grove conditional rezoning, which involved a solar farm. And I believe Carter Metcalf is going to give us a little staff background to bring everybody up to date.
Good morning, Chairman Foster and our esteemed county commissioners. So on February 6th, we had the public hearing for the Shady Grove Solar Farm. It's now March 6th, we're a month later. So staff has been working with the applicant to not only revise the conditions that they proposed, and so far in the conditions resolution, which is what the applicant will sign, the property owners will sign, and also the chairman, if it is recommended for approval. We've gotten that prepared and is in the applicant's hands. There were additional property owners than were initially thought, and so the applicant has to go get their permissions. And then at this time, the only other outstanding item is a signed and sealed decommissioning plan. We have a draft one from the applicant, but we need one sealed by an engineer. They have had it reviewed. And so those are the two outstanding items at this time, and we are proposing, if you wish to continue to move forward, for a continuance to March 20th.
I would think that paperwork should have already been done, but I understand that it's not. I would recommend and make a motion to continue it, but on that particular date, it must be done incomplete. If it's not complete, we will deny, or I will deny. So that gives you till March, and what did you say, 20th, I believe you said?
Yep.
So March 20th, everything needs to be in to our offices so that we can make the right decision on this. And I think most of us want to move forward on it, but not having all the paperwork in, I thought we'd have it today.
Yep.
So my motion would be to continue.
And I'm going to second that motion, and I'm going to make a comment too, because, you know, the first thing I asked today was what was the suspense date? What date did they have to have all this paperwork in? Because we asked some very direct questions at the last meeting, and I think we've given them ample time to answer the questions. It's a little frustrating for us because we don't have all the information before us to make a solid decision and answer our questions. And the biggest thing that I'm concerned about is the sealed, what you just said, the sealed folder for the decontamination efforts. Those are some of the questions that we had, which is going to be vital for them. But I agree with Commissioner Buchanan that they need to have it by the next meeting, or I'm going to also vote for dismissal.
So we've got the motion, the second, and some discussion. Is there any more discussion?
No.
So hearing none, all in favor of the motion to continue this till March 20th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Ms. Griffin?
Chairman Foster and Commissioners, our next item is an update and a request regarding our beach access number 4 dune repairs that we've been talking about for some time. And Assistant County Manager Ben Warren is going to provide the background.
All right, good morning, Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Commissioners. Last year, the town of North Topsail Beach approached the county about a project to reconstruct the dune on the county's beach access number 4 site. That dune was destroyed during Hurricane Florence, and this project would reconstruct the dune and tie into the dune network on either side of the property, which would provide protection from overwash at both the beach access amenities as well as the town's park, the Richard Peters Park, which is directly across the road. When this was brought to the county's attention last year, it was anticipated the project cost would be somewhere around $178,000. That was presented as a tourism request and was approved in the current fiscal year budget. The town has gone out and secured quotes on this project, and the lowest quote has come in at $204,059.74. And so the town has requested additional tourism dollars to cover the balance of the project. The specific action requested today would be that the Board of Commissioners consider allocating occupancy tax dollars in the amount of $26,059.74 to cover the additional cost of the dune restoration project and authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I think this is evident of what we heard earlier in public comment was the work between the county and North Topsail Beach to make good things happen between the two. So we appreciate this opportunity to show that cohesiveness and working with North Topsail Beach and the county as well. So I think that's great.
I would like to, if I may,
Absolutely.
thank the town manager, Alice Darien. She's done a great job really moving this forward and carrying this along and staying in touch, and has really been delightful to work with. Part of the reason why this costs a little more is when we did the repairs to the dune after Ian, some gravel got in the dune, and that made it cost a little bit more. We think it's well worth for tourism purposes for our county, for us to pay a little more occupancy tax to get this done.
Absolutely. Keeps us ahead of the sea turtle nesting time period as well. And I think that's extremely important. For those of you that have not been out there for a turtle nest to hatch, that's a great sight to see. So any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Foster and Commissioners. Our next item, item C, is about the landfill expansion Phase 5. We have an evaluation and recommendation by our solid waste department head, Tim. Come on up, Tim.
Good morning, Chairman Foster, Vice Chairman Knapp, and Commissioners. I bring to you today for your consideration the approval of the 11-acre Phase 5 cell construction project at Onslow County Landfill. The existing Phase 4 cell began in April of 2016 and has approximately 2 years of remaining capacity. The Solid Waste Department has been working with the engineering firm CDM Smith to finalize the Phase 5 cell construction documents, assist with the bidding process, and provide project management and technical review services. The bidding process for the 11-acre Phase 5 cell construction project was conducted by CDM Smith. A pre-qualification process was required for this project, which resulted in a total of 7 qualified contractors. At the initial bid opening, only 2 bids were received, and per state statute, at least 3 bids are required during the first round of submittals. As a result, CDM Smith reopened the RFP process for the second round of bids. The county received 1 bid during the second round. A series of negotiations were held with the bidder, Glover Construction, to reduce the overall cost of the project. The negotiated bid proposal is in the amount of $11,344,150.60, which will be funded by a combination of the $7.5 million ARPA funds and the remaining balance from the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund. It is respectfully requested that Onslow County Board of Commissioners consider awarding the contract to Glover Construction Company, Inc. in the amount of $11,344,150.60 and authorize the chairman to sign any necessary documents on behalf of the county. I will be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This phase, is it estimated to last about 10 years as well, or what's the time that we think it approximately will last?
This phase is estimated with all projections of approximately 5 years.
5, okay.
So does that mean that we're already looking at a site past that?
Yes.
Okay. What's the timeline to complete this one?
From the start to finish, it's approximately an 11-month process.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Foster and Commissioners. Our next item is to request the authorization to advertise the 2022 tax liens on real property. And I will welcome our tax administrator, Kevin Turner.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners. Today I'm coming back to you. I was here last month to present this item. As per North Carolina General Statute 105-369C, the county tax collector shall advertise county tax liens by posting a notice of the liens at least one time in one or more newspapers having general circulation in the taxing unit. And at the time of approval last month, the target date was March 15th. However, due to formatting issues and also a change in the publication from the newspaper, it's necessary to postpone the advertisement beyond the March 15th date as originally proposed. We're requesting to advertise the unpaid taxes on March 25th, 2023 instead. And it's respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve the request to advertise the 2022 tax liens on March 25th. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. We have any discussion?
Considering the fact that circulation has dropped for the paper, we also publish it online as well so people can receive that notification as well, right?
Right, yes, sir.
Is there, there's probably not anything else we could do to get the word out. That's the two big areas, but that's kind of hurts us a little bit with the paper circulation going down, I guess.
It does, and we weren't not aware of the change in their print dates until the following week after the original date was approved. They notified us of the change in their publication dates.
We appreciate you jumping on that and finding alternatives and then making this request so we can meet all the needs that are requirements necessary. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Sims.
I have the next one, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, in September of 2021, this Board of Commissioners approved a settlement agreement with the nation's 3 major pharmaceutical distributors and Johnson & Johnson related to the opioid litigation initiated by the county. As a result of that settlement, Onslow County is projected to receive over $10.5 million. There's a tentative nationwide settlement proposal of $21 billion regarding the claims against Teva, Allergen, Walmart, CVS, and Walgreens. North Carolina state and local governments stand to receive more than $600 million from the settlement proposal. The exact amount Onslow County will receive, provided the settlement is finalized and all the necessary local governments in the state approve the settlement proposal, is projected to be an additional $8 million, almost $8.5 million. Before the board today is a resolution that will allow the county manager to execute the proposed settlements in the supplemental agreement for additional funds, which directs how the funds paid to the state will be allocated to the local governments. It's respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve the included resolution 23-003, which will allow the county manager to execute all the documents necessary to enter into the opioid settlement agreements with Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Allergen, and Teva, and to execute the supplemental agreement for additional funds.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Our next item is approval or consideration of the Southern Health Partners contract, and for that, we're going to have Colonel George.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners, Vice Chairman, Chairman. Onslow County government was awarded the North Carolina Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Site-Based Program. Board of Commissioners approved this funding in February of 2022. This funding will provide medication-assisted treatment, or MAT, therapeutic counseling, and recovery case management in the Onslow County Detention Center. The 3 target populations are opioid-addicted pregnant women, those currently receiving MAT from a community provider when booked into the Onslow County Detention Center, and then ramping up to include inmates initially assessed with an opioid dependency and a misdemeanor conviction. County of Onslow will contract with Southern Health Partners until September of 2025 to mitigate the risk of overdose for persons with opioid use disorder after release, decrease recidivism, and reduce costs by utilizing a comprehensive drug treatment program within the jail system. Southern Health Partners will be responsible for monthly reporting measures to monitor demand, capture expected engagement, individuals served, direct connections to services, resources made with each inmate, and number of naloxone kits distributed by the program, or number of referrals made to obtain naloxone from another source for all inmates. Specific action requested today is it respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve the multi-year service contract between County of Onslow and Southern Health Partners in the amount of $362,525 and authorize Chairman Tim Foster and County Manager Sharon Griffin to execute the associated documents. I'm here to answer any questions. If you have any, I also have Major Linwood Strawn, the jail administrator, here as well.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Colonel George.
Our final two items, Commissioners, are going to be with Andrew Prince, our Finance Officer. The first is the North Carolina Appropriations Act grant, and the second will be budget amendments.
The North Carolina General Assembly has awarded Onslow County $500,000 for the beginning of a pool feasibility study for the community. The county will be sub-receiving this money through the New River YMCA. We have already had meetings with them and set up those procedures and put those in place. Any additional funding that is left over after the study will be put towards the construction of the pool if deemed feasible. It is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners accept the funds from the North Carolina Office of State Budget Management for the purpose of the grant and authorize the county manager to execute the necessary documents on behalf of the county. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Motion to approve, and I have some questions.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
My question would be that, are we going to go out on bids when to start doing this?
Yes, sir. This money requires that we use the federal guidelines for how we're going to spend it. So yes, it would have to be bidded out.
Okay, that's my concern was. Thank you.
And to that, Commissioner Buchanan, just to add to what Andrew just said, we had a meeting with the YMCA folks, and they're going to be working with our purchasing department prior to anything being bid out, because what we want to make sure is that they take whatever procedures are necessary to meet those federal guidelines. So we've been in contact with them to set that up. But just for the board's edification, no money is being authorized to be spent from today's action. It's just accepting the funds. We'll have to come back before the board with the actual contract between us and the YMCA that details exactly the requirements that we're going to expect of them. And then you're going to be, at that point, asked to allocate certain funding for certain items. So no money will be spent as of today. It's just accepting those funds. And the YMCA is aware of that, and we've communicated well with them and had a great meeting with them. So everybody's on the same page. But I just want to make sure you and the public in general were aware that no funds are being spent today. It's just accepting those funds for the intended purpose.
But if the bids go out, are we supervising those bids? Is our staff handling the bids on that process, or is the YMCA handling the process?
The YMCA will be in charge of that process, but we'll be doing it in consultation with us. So, for example, if they want to take out, if we decide to go forward with the project, if this board decides to go forward with the project and they want to advertise for bids for design services, they'll send over the documents to us. We'll review them, make sure that they take the appropriate steps to comply with all those federal guidelines. Because at the end of the day, we're responsible for the money. So
that was my concern. I know we were responsible for everything. I just want to make sure we,
that's right.
Dotted the I's and crossed the T's.
Yes. Before we write a check, we're going to make sure that all the requirements were met. And of course, whether we write a check or not is dependent upon this board wanting to go forward with that project.
My understanding, too, is that there'll be a presentation at our next workshop. So I'm excited to see how it comes together. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
So without our cooperation, this would have, we actually had to fill out paperwork, I assume then, so since we're kind of like a pass-through agent working?
That's right. I understand from the state awards it to the county, and then we funnel that to the intended agency. I think the reason that they had the county involved is to make sure that they have someone to help hold accountable that these funds are being spent with complying with all the federal guidelines, et cetera, stuff that we're familiar with that maybe nonprofits are not so familiar with. So we're willing to help the YMCA in navigating that process. But before we write a check, we're going to be satisfied on our end that everything was satisfied.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
The last item I have for you for today is 3 budget amendments, B43 through B45. B43 is an increase to cover the cost for election workers and departmental supplies for the Board of Elections. The number 44 is $26,000 for the occupancy tax for the North Topsail Beach project, which we previously approved. And the last is a increase for $500,000 for the acceptance of the pool feasibility study, which we just spoke about. It is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners consider the listed budget amendments.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Ms. Griffin, we have one more item, I believe.
Yes, we do have an item that was pulled from the consent agenda, and that would be in regard to the fireworks for the Swansboro event. And Ben Warren will clarify this for us.
All right, thank you, Ms. Griffin. The county received a pyrotechnic permit request from the Swansboro Baseball and Softball League for an event they're going to hold on March the 17th, 2023. And I apologize for the confusion. The original application came in for the 18th and then was subsequently changed back to the 17th. So the specific action is to request the Board of Commissioners to approve the pyrotechnic permit request for the fireworks display to be held on March 17th at 283, 287 Swansboro Loop Road in Swansboro, and if approved, authorize the chairman to sign the necessary documents on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Ms. Griffin?
Thank you so much. A couple of items today for manager's comments. First of all, I would like to formally welcome our new internal auditor. Her name is Lauren Malone. She comes to us from the Minnesota auditors, and we are very pleased to have her. We have done without an internal auditor for much too long due to issues trying to recruit and a very difficult workforce. And this is a position that's very important to Onslow County, and we're very happy to have her here and hope that she loves it. We're also pleased to say that after a very long period of recruitment, we are anticipating a grants manager will be starting with us soon. We're very excited about that, and that is very much in need, and we will be introducing her as well in the coming weeks. The third item I wanted to talk about today was just to give those who may be listening a little bit of a heads up about the Medicaid expansion that has been proposed in the North Carolina General Assembly. House Bill 76 contains most of the information, and you've heard some of the press reporting about Medicaid expansion. From a county perspective, we just want to let everyone know that this will represent a large increase in our operating budget, not only in DSS, but it will also impact our health department. We expect 13 to 18 new positions to be required if this passes. Not only do we need to fund part of those positions, but we will also need a place to put them and computers. And it takes 6 to 12 months to train someone to do the type of intake required for Medicaid expansion. Over the past 4 years, even without Medicaid expansion, we have seen, sadly, here in Onslow County, a 40% increase in the number of citizens who are on Medicaid. If Medicaid expansion passes, we anticipate 6,300 in the first year of additional folks. And by the second year, another 2,000. So we would go from having currently about 50,000 people on Medicaid to going well over 50,000 and closer to 60,000. The part that we play in this is we make sure that we take applications and that we do it accurately and that we keep these in place under state guidelines, state and federal guidelines. So we do anticipate a dramatic increase in caseloads and an impact, as I stated, not only to DSS, but also to the health department in an increased demand for services. And just wanted to give that education to the public and to our Board of Commissioners. We are expecting a large uptick in new positions for DSS if this passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Griffin. We'll go to commissioner comments, and we'll start with Commissioner Scott.
Just coming on the backside of what the manager just said, that's really going to cost the taxpayers. This past week, I was on a Zoom meeting and went to her and asked her some questions. This is going to cost the counties a lot of money in the next few years. It's something we're going to have to do. We're already at 80%, over 80%. It's going to go up, and there's nothing that this board can do about it. It's just something that we're going to have to deal with and just see what shakes out. Second thing I want to talk about is the budget. We're in budget season, and I want you to remember a number, and I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to be chastised about it. I got 72 reasons on why that Walter Scott will be looking into the budget this year. It still bothers me that we need to look into the budget. And I hope y'all understand. Y'all put me in this position to look at the budget, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I thank you, and I hope y'all have a good day.
Thank you, Commissioner Scott. Commissioner Bennett.
Thank everybody for being here. Appreciate your comments, Rick, and our department heads. Thank you for your report. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Commissioner Bennett. Commissioner Price.
2 weeks ago, UPS did make the announcement that Commissioner Bennett had spoke of in our last meeting, that they will build a distribution center at Camp Davis Industrial Park, which will add nearly 100 jobs at an average salary. I think they said $67,000 a year, up near $70,000. So that's a great thing for Onslow County. So that was good stuff. That was good news, and enjoyed being down at Holly Ridge to hear that. This morning, we did address a couple of agenda items today that are connected to the opioid crisis. We need to understand that we're not going to solve the opioid crisis regardless of how much money we put into it. There's so many factors that go into it, yet we have an obligation to help people who are hurting, that are seeking help for addiction. And in the form of, we need to help them with treatment. So I just wanted to mention that because I've seen a number of kids that I've taught that come through, and I've had to attend visitations at their funerals and things like that. So it is something that kind of hits close to home whenever you think about this. I'm sure every family knows of someone that has been affected by this crisis. So we do have an obligation to help, but just need to understand we're not going to solve it. So many factors. You look at America today, it seems like we're in cultural decay. I feel like Rome, maybe like a Roman felt back in the day whenever they saw the ominous signs of what was coming down the pike for Rome. So maybe we can do our part to turn the tide on that cultural decay and have an impact on the opioid crisis in that area. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Commissioner Price. Commissioner Buchanan.
Thank you, Jennifer and Andrew. Thank you for your presentation. Jennifer, I can tell you get emotionally involved with your people that work for you. It's amazing to hear that all the time, but you've all heard me say this time and time again. We've got the best employees in the country, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Commissioner Buchanan. Commissioner Carpenter.
Well, I've been busy since the last meeting. I want to thank Mr. Norman Bryson for taking me out on a ride-along to see very few emergencies that day, thankfully. I think we agreed that that department was probably very happy that I was out there because I seemed to push away whatever kind of emergencies were happening the day before that. But thank you. I really appreciate you doing that for me. Also want to thank Carter Metcalf for meeting with me for about 2 hours last week to go over a rezoning package just so that I could get a better handle on it. And I just really appreciate that, and I look forward to the next one that comes. Also toured the Skills Center, and I want to thank Tony Bello, who is the Curriculum and Instructional Management Coordinator. That place is phenomenal. I just had no idea what a great opportunity we have right here through the school system for youth who are interested in things like robotics and nursing and culinary arts and automotive. It's a way for them to try on, if you will, a career and or even get certified on a subject that they might want to pursue once they get out. There's going to be some expansions, hopefully, up to the second floor in the near future, I hope, for them. And I got this flyer. I thought it's probably online, but told them I'd do a shout out for Trades Day, which is March 18th at 9 o'clock. They're all going to be competing and earning awards and different things like drafting, welding, and culinary arts. It's over at Coastal Carolina Community College. So I plan to be there, and if you want to join me, I sure hope you will. The last thing I want to talk about is I had one of the committees that I serve for is the Workforce Development Board meeting, and Mark Price, who formerly served on that, and I both agree there is a lot of acronyms and verbiage that you need to learn as you do any of these things. But just as a quick thing on that topic, I wanted to read their mission because what they do, I think, is so important for, gosh, I don't even know, maybe Medicaid expansion, getting people into the workplace. Their mission is to develop the workforce through a collaborative, customer-focused approach that facilitates partnerships between job seekers, workers, employers, and educators, aligning workforce requirements to economic needs. And so what they do is so key in helping people in our community to get connected with work that's good for them. We had Jeff DeBellis from the North Carolina Department of Commerce, and he showed us a whole bunch of great stuff online about data and analytics that kind of gives us an economic overview at the local level, which I am anxious to dive into a little bit more. Coming up is going to be some projections that'll be available, which I think will be interesting for community planning. A couple of things I took away which were kind of discouraging, but the fact that young adults are not entering the workforce as quickly as they should be. There's a Next Gen Youth Council working to get them more engaged. They're hoping to work with school counselors to get them even more involved. Also, the Workforce Development Board is looking at ways to get the word out about their resources. So I hope by bringing that up right now, I'm doing that a little bit for them as well. Thank you so much and have a great week.
Thank you, Commissioner Carpenter. Vice Chairman Knapp.
Yeah, just a few things. First of all, Rick, Grant, thank you for showing up. You're always here at all our meetings. I think the relationship with North Topsail Beach is growing. It's getting better, and I appreciate your comments. And Jason, it's good to see you, our Director of Board of Elections. He stays in touch with us, and I just want to let you know you do a remarkable job out there. And I guess you've been busy the last couple of years, and you're going to get busy again towards the end of the year. So I know we'll be interfacing with you a lot. As far as the Department of Social Services, that is a very crucial job. Being in law enforcement, having worked with DSS since 1990, you guys have a thankless job, and you do your job, and you do it well, and I'm very proud of you, and you deserve that proclamation, and kudos to your staff in the public library. I've never seen somebody so passionate about the public library, but that was touching, and I listened to what you had to say, and it's good to see employees that care about what they do and their people. That's really refreshing, and I could see some of the directors that are out here now that always attend our meeting, that they're always in tune with that. The budget is coming up, and I know you guys are holding workshops with the directors. I think Tim and myself are probably going to attend one of the directors' meetings just to speak to you. That's it. You know, just give our little warm regards and get out of there and let you do your business, because that's what you're supposed to do. And, all our directors that are out there with the budget, I wish you the best of luck. You know, I know that you're doing everything within the confinement of what we set for the goals and what the county manager has issued for her. And we look forward to looking at your budget and looking at what you propose and what you can do. And again, speaking for myself and probably the majority of the commissioners here, we have utmost confidence in all of you to do what's right for the county and to keep it in the confinements of our priorities that we set, the 4 priorities that we set at our budget workshop. And then, of course, Sharon, she oversees that. And every budget cycle that I've been through with you guys for the last 6 years, especially the last 3 years, I would say has been very smooth. And I do appreciate it. And thank you for answering all our questions. Other than that, I really don't have anything else to say. I just want to thank everybody for attending today. And There's some things that I'm not going to discuss openly in a meeting, some feelings that I have about certain events that have occurred over the last week. I don't think it would be prudent or smart for me to voice my opinion at this particular time. And I'm a little disappointed in something, nothing to do with the county, nothing to do with the county officials or anything like that whatsoever. Just some other things that just really bother me. And I'm debating on whether I should make my concerns known in the near future. And I'm sure you'll know that I'll let you know if I do. But I want to thank everybody for coming. I appreciate you attending on a work day in the morning, and have a safe week.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. First, I want to reiterate what Ms. Griffin said and welcome Lauren Malone to Onslow County, our internal auditor, and Minnesota. So I know that you have enjoyed the extreme temperatures of Onslow County and our winters. That happens 2 or 3 times a year, and you're probably getting ready to have another week of it, but I can assure you, you won't have to wrap up like you did in Minnesota. So we appreciate you coming to Onslow County. Andrew Prince and Jennifer Whaley, thank you so much for coming in and sharing what your departments do. And the thing that really needs to be noted is you both, as other department directors have shared, is you talked about the people that work with you in your departments and what they bring to the table. Teamwork is the most important thing that we have, and both of you mentioned what your people do with you, and you work with them and they don't work for you, and I think that needs to be noted. And it is noted that Ms. Whaley wore her Richlands blue to the meeting this morning, but we won't hold that against her with any of our school colors here. But your emotion was very, very warranted and felt, because people do not wake up and say, you know what, today's the day I want to be in a tough situation. And we have people that provide service in Onslow County. And I want everyone to know that it's perceived power in directors and supervisors' hands and workers in the Onslow County government. But it's not perceived power that the people in the county government, they don't see it as that. They see it as service with purpose. And that's what we do. We have a purpose to serve the citizens of Onslow County and do everything we can to improve their situations, which simply improves Onslow County and makes it the best that we possibly could have it to be. So we appreciate that. And one of the problems that we face is during the summers, I remember being outside and not on the video game. And when the bookmobile pulled down my road, I was excited to climb on board. I don't necessarily think I was excited about checking out a book, but I was excited about an air-conditioned bookmobile when it was 98 degrees and my parents made me go outside and play. And it was a godsend when the library showed up mobilely. So parents, get your kids on the bookmobile, get them in the books, and get them off of the video games, which brings us to the opioids. We're having to hold people accountable, business accountable, corporations accountable for what they've done. But we can't forget that's not the only place where that problem is occurring. It's occurring here because of what we don't do. And that's where I want to share. They interviewed, and I'm not a Duke Blue Devils fan, but they interviewed Mike Krzyzewski and asked him about no longer coaching and what the changes were that brought him there. He said, I'm 75 years old. Had 2 kids that started on my team last year that were 18 years old. You have to change the way you talk with them, how you communicate depending on culture. Here's the change. Here's the kicker that doesn't change. But you never change the values that you were trying to teach. We may have to change with the times, but our values should never change because of anything else that's taking place. Folks, stand up. Stand up and fight for this youth, because it's a battle against opioids and it's a battle of what's coming across the border. So thank you for what you do. Social workers, you're on the front line. My gosh, you're on the front line. And you are all about service, and we appreciate that. And again, it's service with purpose. Now to finish out, I'm sorry I'm long-winded this morning, but I want to talk about our budget process real quick. I appreciate what Commissioner Scott said, because looking at the budget process is our job. That is our number one priority in Onslow County as commissioners, is the budget. And it starts first with a budget workshop, first one that we've already had. We establish the goals of this board. This board then in turn shares those goals with our county manager, and we give direction of what she is to do. She leaves our budget workshop with those goals in mind in the direction of this board, which was a consensus of this board, and she sets schedules and begins to work with our director. She lets them know what the goals are, what the projections are, and what she expects them to bring to the table. And if it doesn't meet that, I have a feeling that it goes back to them and says, no, you're a little bit too high on your end. Let's come back and look at that again. Once that is taken care of, I feel sure that she then goes into meetings with her directors and starts hearing and discussing and working with them to build each department's budget as long as it falls within the budget and the direction that this board has given our county manager. She receives their input. She receives their request. Sometimes there's a second draft, a third draft, there may even be a fourth draft and a mental fifth draft if it's necessary. They have a budget team that follows the direction of the county manager, which is following direction of your Board of Commissioners in that budget process. Our county manager leads the development of the budget with her team and with her directors. That budget, when it reaches its conclusion, is then presented to us as a Board of Commissioners. At that time, we ask our questions, we share our concerns, and we may give direction that something has to change and it has to go back and be changed before we will vote or we will approve that budget. That will continue until we get to the point where we meet our deadline and have met the goals and the direction that has been established by this board. Once that is met, we'll let the public look at it, discuss it amongst themselves at the coffee shops and the little bakeries and the little restaurants, and we have a website or an email address that citizens can send information and questions to. That is budgetcomments@onslowcountync.gov. Make sure if you have questions or concerns, you send that. That is directly relayed to us once those are received. We will have a budget workshop on October 10th with the nonprofit in tourism and other discussion that will go into the process and what we're looking at. Maybe it's not. They're shaking their head. Say it again. Not October. April. Yes, April 10th. Don't wait till October. Whew. But April 10th, we'll hear from them and we'll make decisions of where the money goes for those nonprofits and their tourism funds. So there's a lot of work to be done. Here's the thing I want everybody to understand when we move forward with this. As individuals on this board, we cannot individually influence department heads or the county manager. That's not our jobs. We have to work as a board, and we've done that by establishing the direction and the goals that were presented and given to our county manager. They will have lots of budget workshops or discussions and meetings that are going on with department heads with our county manager and their budget team. Those meetings are meant for them. If we go to them, we create undue influence of what we as individuals think the budget should look like. That's not our purpose. If our purpose is to do that, then we must have a quorum to attend those meetings for us to start discussing that with them and giving them direction outside of this board. And if we have a quorum, there will be an advertisement, and you will be welcome to attend to be a part of it. Because when we make budget decisions, we make those decisions as a majority of your county commission. We cannot, for transparency purposes, go and create undue influence on department heads or our county managers as individuals. So as they work on those presentations and they get those completed, those will be brought to us and we'll begin our work as a board openly in front of the public and transparent of what those decisions will be. So all we do with this budget must be transparent and put in front of you whenever we discuss it and make suggestions or things that need to be done. It has to be done publicly, so there is no perception of hidden agendas. With that being said, I thank you very much for being here today. Have a great day.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved. We're adjourned.